Does anyone remember Alan's Music in Collins Street and the basement, the sheet music department down there? Okay, that used to be a place of wonder for me. I'd come home, or on my way home from school, Mum and Dad set me off to this posh bastard school in Hawthorn. All my mates from Carlton went to the local tech. What happened with me was I'd have to catch the, end up having to catch the train into Flinders Street and then change trains to get out to where I was living after Dad retired from the pub and all that. Dad ran the Dan O'Connell Hotel. He ran two pubs actually, the Prince of Wales Hotel in St Kilda from the mid-50s into the early 60s and then on to the Dan O'Connell. Hence me branded on the back of my neck loving all things Celtic and all that sort of stuff, because that's where all the Irish music started. I digress. What I used to do was get off the train at Flinders Street coming home from school and I'd bolt straight off to Alan's Music in Collins Street down into the basement, and it was wall-to-wall books. It was wall-to-wall music books, and it was like a wonder to me, an absolute wonder when I was coming up with music, and I just couldn't get enough, you know, sort of thing. I couldn't afford it because I was just a school kid on his little school kid pocket money. $10 a week I used to get to do everything, drumsticks, drum skins, all this sort of business. And what it was I used to just sit there and free read. Okay, so this is why I've got books in my hand today. One of the things, one of the first things I suppose that I was influenced with, and what goes to what I do on the drum set today, even now, when I'm out the other end and only just, what am I, about 10 months away from when my dear old dad retired. So, you know, and I'm still playing in bands, so here's a bit of luck. Anyway, this book that was given to my dad on his retirement, the Bushwhackers Band Dance Book. Okay, for those who may or may not remember the Bushwhackers. I do believe one Tommy Emmanuel was in the Bushwhackers for a while. They started at my dad's pub, and if you have a look, there's music involved. And whenever I'm sitting down waiting for a student and all this, I will sit down and just muck my way through on some of the beautiful jigs and reels that are in this book. And that is a book that I'd love you to chase down if you possibly can, if it's still in print, or at least source the music. Bushwhackers Band Dance Book, this sort of thing. The Bushwhackers are a part of the fabric of Australian bush dances and all sorts of stuff, you know, Celtic music throughout Australia. It's a beautiful book. There you go. What happened to me early on was actually having proper music lessons in school. And so good old Alan's here, oh, that's the wrong one, would put out these little booklets, Alan's Publishing, before the whole Alan's thing went belly up along with Billy Hyde's. And just recently, two great institutions of music in Australia. And that's the last theory book I got, 5th grade theory of music. I've sourced grade 6, of course, and grade 7, and I've done all sorts of other things. But that's a book that I really hold dear in the sense that it's theory. Why do I need theory for drums? You do. That's what it is. And one of the things that I do with the drum set, as you've probably seen, is that I'll create fundamentals on the right-hand side, or at least my right-hand side here. And what happens is I'll create the bass, but then with the piccolo toms over there, I'm creating melodies or whatever. But what I'm really doing is a thing that Bach is much beloved for, is counterpoint. And there's a little booklet called Free Counterpoint in 2 parts. And for me that works really well because I've got 2 arms, do you see? So what happens is that everything that I learnt in school I can actually apply to the drum set in a certain way. Okay. Now, of course, the preeminent exponent of things like this is Terry Bozzio sort of thing. You can plainly see the influence, but I hope that I'm not just a Bozzio clone or clown. Maybe I'll edit that out. But what happens, I will edit that out. So what happens is free counterpoint. Learn it. Okay, see how it happens. This isn't just for drumming independence. I'm coming at it from a different point of view. That can also be the dual lead guitar stuff. You need to remember that You know, like Metallica, for instance, when they go into dual lead guitar, you've got to remember Kirk Hammett is a studied classical musician, you know, applying his craft to metal and all this sort of stuff. So you'd be surprised about, you know, some of these musicians, you know, who really study their craft, you know, sort of thing. So there's that. Fifth grade theory, there it is there.